today's Power Hour. I am Veronica Valentino, along with my co-host, Miss Renee Rand. You know what? Hey, and along with our Facebook page, which is growing by leaps and bounds. You know what? Today's topic is going to be amazing, and we are very excited to talk about. And you know what? Our special guest is you. So,
Absolutely.
ladies, yeah, ladies, join us, with your husband or significant other. We're so happy to have you here. And, this is just a general fun talk. There's no craziness. It's just, things that women don't usually get to talk about, and they should. So, you know what? So today's topic is let's talk about sex and menopause. How about that? Woohoo! Um,
I love
you know,
it.
I know there's no age limit on a great sex life. So despite negative stereotypes surrounding sexuality, aging, sex after 40, it can be fun and satisfying, in new and exciting ways. And I know a lot of women have issues, because of menopause, and it's just not something that women are openly talking about, and we're doing that here. So, the key to understanding how a sex drive and sexual function can really change a woman during this new chapter of life. We're going to touch on the physiological
Yeah.
and the psychological shifts that, come with aging, and share tips on how women can boost, their sexual desire and arousal. I know Renee has some great ideas for that as well. You know what? And as women enter in perimenopause and menopause, they experience just so many significant changes, in hormone levels, that can impact your libido. So, what? Women may also start to notice changes in, that nether region, like dryness and thinning tissue that, it can impact the ability to self lubricate and lead to painful sex and whatnot. And you know what? Personal experiences, everyday stress, partner dynamics. They're all factors that can really enhance or deplete your sex drive. So, ladies, join us. You know, but aging shouldn't mean
No.
compromising on sexual fulfillment at all or intimacy. And you know what? With our YouTube channel, we get out there, we're growing by leaps and bounds. Don't forget to like, share, follow, and subscribe to our YouTube channel and join the ladies of Power Hour. And with that being said, I want to introduce my co-host, Miss Renee Rand. You can take over from there.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Well, so happy to have everybody here today. And of course, sexual wellness is an area that I've put a lot of time and effort into educating women over the last 40 years.
Mhm.
And, when the ovaries stop producing estrogen due to, changes and you're beginning to get into menopause, once your menstrual period stops, you're in menopause. And
Right.
while not having periods can be a huge relief for people that worry about getting pregnant or unplanned pregnancies, it can also very much benefit your sex life. During that time, you don't have to worry about that part of the stress. If you're still concerned about getting pregnant, that's not going to happen now. And your ability to enjoy and be more comfortable in your sex life can really change and be enhanced. At the same time, we come up with the symptoms that Veronica just mentioned: the vaginal dryness, the thinning of the vaginal walls, all the things that, and sometimes lack of libido. Our
Yeah.
desires change. But depending on your age and where you are in your life, half of the women in their 50s reported that they were still continued to have sexual activity, but the percentage dropped down to 23% at age 70. Well, I'm 71, and if I had my druthers, it's a part of my life without a partner now. So, you have to remember, you use it or lose it when it comes
Lose
to your
it. Yep.
vaginal health. You'll use it or lose it. So if you don't have a partner in your life, then you're talking about making sure that you take care of that yourself. And
Mm.
It's nothing to be ashamed of. It's nothing to be embarrassed about. It's a function that when you have an orgasm on a regular basis, it releases all the amazing hormones in your body that keep you mentally, physically, and psychologically in a good place. They didn't call it hysterectomy for any other reason than the hysterical female many years ago. Doctor would put a hysterical female on his examining table. He used this miracle medical instrument to cure her by actually what he was doing was masturbating her with a miracle medical instrument, known today as maybe a vibrator or massager or something like that. She'd release all those hormones, relax, and then be back next week. Okay, all right. So
Yep.
that's going
I
way
remember
back to
using
the
that
time when we
story.
started that.
Word for word.
Absolutely. And so things change, but more than a third of women that are even in perimenopause, they report having some sexual difficulties. And those difficulties are different because of what they feel is a dysfunction. But whenever there's a dysfunction in your life, you have to remember there's a solution. There's a way to make everything work better. Vaginal dryness, you want a lube. You want a good lube. You want something that's safe, that's water soluble. Something will work for you. You should have something next to the bed. Bring your partner into the understanding about what's going on during this time. Because if your partner's involved with you, they definitely won't feel threatened. If you're by yourself, you don't have that worry anyway. But it's just so important that you know how to take care of yourself and your sexual needs. Now, we have to remember too that lots of times when women get to that age and their libido starts to wane a little bit, they may choose to be less sexually active by choice. Maybe they spend more time with friends and they have more activities and they've put that kind of on the side. Well, if that's somebody's choice, that's fine. But remember the sexual benefits again of having an orgasm. So if we're deciding to cut off that part of our sexuality because we're going through menopause, then we're not reaping the benefits of what can happen when we're still stimulating that sensation in our body. So just things to be thinking about, might be they feel like they have a sexual dysfunction, or maybe if they do have a partner, their partner is the one who has the sexual dysfunction. We have erectile dysfunction in males is huge. So, if they're not using it, they're going to lose it as well. So I remind the guys if we get a conversation going on, I'll say, well, if you don't have a partner right now, take longer showers, take care of it yourself. Don't worry about that part of it. Just keep using that function so that your body is using that and then moving forward. So I just think there's so many things that can be done differently. And of course, we don't recommend hormone replacement therapy, but we do know of products that can actually stimulate your own pituitary gland to stimulate your own production of those hormones so that you can get your own hormones going again. So there are things to choose that will really work for you. And vaginal dryness during sex, lots of times just setting up the right atmosphere with you and your partner, or just for yourself. I mean, candles, music, all those things can make a huge difference, even on your body producing getting rid of the vaginal dryness and producing some natural lubrication. So if you don't find a system that works that will do that for you, then grab a bottle of lube. Doesn't take a lot, and just make sure you're well lubricated if you're trying to make sure that stimulation is going on. And then we talked about the thinning of the vaginal walls. For some people, that can not only be painful, but that can tear and rip inside our bodies and create horrible infections and things. So again, that would be another great reason to make sure you're well lubricated. Even if you're using a toy or a vibrator, that can happen if you're not well lubricated. So let's take the precautions and prepare so we get the best results from what we're looking for. And I mean, have fun. Oh my goodness. Have some fun, if you have a comfy, fun outfit that you want to wear to bed when you're, to stimulate yourself or your partner, whatever it takes. Your arousal is personal on an individual basis. So Veronica and I used to do in-home parties, and we would educate women on different things they could do with their partners, or when they got their partner or whatever, to keep their marriage successful and exciting. And some of the questions that we would get, because all the ordering for what they wanted to purchase was done in a private room, so nobody got offended, nobody got embarrassed, they could buy whatever they wanted, and you don't want to yuck on anybody else's yum. And that's something too. If you talk about sex with your girlfriends, don't yuck on somebody else's yum. Somebody might say something and maybe that's not your thing. That doesn't mean that you want to put them down for maybe trying something different that isn't in your realm. It might not be in your wheelhouse. That's okay. But trying different things can also help. Also, you can fulfill your sex life through the menopausal changes. There's other things you can do when your estrogen's a little bit lower. I like watching romance movies and chick flicks and things like that. I've never really been into pornographic stuff at all. That's never been anything that's really gotten me excited.
Renee, let me ask you, watching a rom-com, does that excite you?
Sometimes I get real emotional. I get
Okay.
really emotional with happy endings.
Right.
When everything ends up happy. And what I find for myself is when my emotions are heightened like that, that's the perfect time for me to move into, some time by myself afterwards, because my emotions and my sensitivity level is heightened from comedy or rom-coms. Any of that does it for me. So it's a little bit different for everybody.
Okay, we do have a question for you.
Oh, great. All right.
So does masturbating? Is masturbating a bad thing for women's health? I read something that suggested it was not good, and it's better to have a partner.
Well, masturbating is good if you don't partner. If you have a partner that you regularly connect with, then that would be the prime, objective to getting the best results possible. But as in most things in life, some is better than none. So if you don't have a partner or you're not being active with that partner, then it's imperative that you still take care of yourself. And it's not a bad thing, not at all. It can really heighten your health and your well-being by using those endorphins in your body. So yeah, it can really make a difference.
Let's talk about a water-based lubricant as opposed to a silicone lubricant. So share a little bit with me about that.
Absolutely. You want to use water-based lubricants because there's nothing that can affect the inside pH of your vaginal health. Okay. When you use silicone lubricants, that would be only if you're using a silicone toy. And it's not really necessary. There's very few toys and vibrators and massagers today that are not phthalate free. They need to be phthalate free. Phthalate free is the stuff that can cause problems.
Right.
But a waterproof lube can be functional for all of it. And I think much more effective.
Okay, we have another question.
Okay.
We have another question that came in. And how does menopause typically affect sexual desire and arousal?
Well, it's affected because what happens is our estrogen levels drop. So our libido or our desire is lessened as we're going through those hormonal changes. So if you can stimulate that yourself, then you're kind of combating that. But it's a natural part usually for about 85% of women experience that much of a change when they're going through menopause. So it is still a very important part of the process. And our hormones start depleting when we're 30 years old. So it's not like it waits till we're 50. So,
Right.
it depends on what's going on through your lifetime, depends how active you are with your partner, depends
Hmm.
on gosh, so many things. If you're raising little kids and your kids are sleeping in the same bed with you, you have no chance.
All
Then
right.
it's go lock yourself in the bathroom, in the shower, or the bathtub.
I hear you. So Gloria is asking, is it normal for libido to increase, decrease, or fluctuate?
All of the above. It's normal for the libido to decrease during menopause because of the
Hmm.
hormone difference, but it can definitely fluctuate depending on what measures you're taking to work with the symptoms. We were all using a product called Somaderm, which is a
Hmm.
homeopathic gel, transdermal gel. That works great for getting the pituitary gland to start stimulating its own stuff and making the libido change and those feelings. But it is very natural, and it's not only just the lack of hormones, it's also stress.
Hmm.
It's the atmosphere around you, what's going on in your life and the people around you in your life. Remember, what you focus on expands. So if you're not thinking in a positive frame of what's going on in your life right now, that can also contribute to lack of success in your libido. So there's so many things, but it's really kind of all of the above on that one.
Okay. All right. So we have another question in from Sarah. How do you talk to a partner about changes in desire or comfort?
Oh, hopefully you have a partner that you can discuss things with openly. And you always want to make sure you deliver it so it doesn't feel like you're attacking your partner. So
Hmm.
you want to deliver it with, honey, I just wanted to let you know how I'm feeling right now. And maybe we need to make some changes because I feel, vaginal dryness, or my libido's not where it used to be, or I'd like more sex, or I'd like less sex. Whatever's going in your life, it's all revolves around communication. But you need to do it in kindness and love, because one of the very worst things you can do in a relationship is just throw something out there, or a name or a statement that's going to stay in their brain for the rest of their lives. So, and that happens so easily.
So we do have another question here, and I kind of find this interesting. Here, I'll post it. Laura's asking, what's something you would enjoy in bed now that maybe you didn't in your 20s?
Oh, that's a great question.
I tell you, I
Um,
thought so too.
yeah, in my 20s, it was all about discovery and new things. I think now it's about focusing on the things that I know I enjoy and I want more of. So I think my own output on my 20s versus my 70s is number one now. I'm looking for a partner. So, but if I don't have a partner, I'm going to do the things that comfort me personally. Whereas when I was 20, I was probably a lot more adventurous out of inexperience. And out of that inexperience, when I was, my husband would, try something new or something, I'd be very excited. And I was, well, all my life, I can actually say this truthfully. I'm open to everything, closed to nothing, and open to the opportunity that, God puts in front of me every day. So, um, I think some people are very closed minded and they wouldn't make adventurous choices as they get older. But I
Yeah.
think when you're younger, you generally, out of inexperience, sometimes will try more things.
Yeah, you know what? We're not dead. And you know what's really funny is you have women in their 40s, 50s, and 60s and 70s, and they're not looking like the mumums, the grandmas, the nonas, the yayas back in the day. So
Right.
they're not wearing these. They don't look like the little stocky refrigerators with white hair, glasses, and the rolled down socks, and the
The
house
Golden
dresses and the
Girls,
black
Estelle
glosses.
Getty on the Golden Girls. Golden Girls, Estelle Getty. She, in an episode recently, they walked in, she was in bed with somebody. And and even though we don't look in that time frame as the grannies of yesteryear, okay,
Yeah,
I really think we have a lot more going for us. But the
right.
thing is, you need to be comfortable in your own skin. And once you learn how to be comfortable in your own skin, you're easier to open up to the other people around you.
So this
Oh, come
actually
on,
leads
keep the
into this.
questions coming.
This leads into the next question. Kathy is asking, should we feel more confident sexually now? Why? What would make us feel most attractive these days?
Well, I think you feel most attractive when you are more comfortable in your own skin. So,
Yeah,
confidence sexually now would be the fact that you probably have more experience. So that should raise your confidence level some. It depends
right.
on whether you're with a younger partner or an older partner. You know, the term cougars today, you have a lot of
Yeah.
younger men dating older women, even marrying older women. So, because they appreciate, I think, the comfort and the experience that comes with that part of it. But
Well,
I,
you
I
know what I
think
gotta
it's
say?
different for everybody.
I have to say one thing. It always amazed me how the younger men were so attracted to you because you just walk in, light up this room, and everything. I mean, I'm married. My honey, it'll be 39 years. Wow.
Wow,
But
that's so awesome.
I know. Just like I mean, hey, it wasn't all roses and chocolate candies and whatnot. But we got through it. We worked it out. So I love these questions that are coming in. So let's
Oh, it's
see.
fabulous.
So Okay, Kathy is asking about what we went to feeling sexually confident. Okay, so Chris is asking, a friend of mine says that when she had sex from not being active for months to a year, she bled, but she's not having
Yeah.
a menstrual cycle. Is this normal or something she needs to talk to a health professional about? She's uncomfortable being intimate for that reason. Some
Well,
women
that's
can
the
be.
thinning. Yeah, that's the thinning of the vaginal walls. That's why when we talk about masturbating or self pleasuring is important, because if you're using a small toy with lubricant, what it does is it keeps the inside muscles inside the vaginal walls. It helps to strengthen them. And the bleeding can stop, and the tearing can stop once they find the right remedy, or to the solution to the challenge. So that
Hmm.
would be, again, a good lubricant, sometimes internal massage with a massager, not just looking to stimulate and get excited and maybe have a clitoral type of an orgasm, but maybe just an internal massage to get the walls built up a little bit more. Because we were talking when we first started, if you don't use it, you lose it.
Yeah.
So if you're putting the work in, I don't think you always have to turn to a professional, only because I know at one point I brought up to my doctor that I was having vaginal dryness, and in between marriages way back when, and they wanted to put me on estrogen creams and different creams. I don't want that. I want something that's going to work for me naturally, that I'm
Right.
not going to have to deal with the side effects of a hormone replacement therapy. So, but it can definitely be dealt with, but I can understand why they're hesitant about having sexual relations when that's been a result. But just know, as long as you take care of yourself, Make sure that you don't get infections from that bleeding or that tearing, and be very cautious. And then maybe start on a routine of self massage with just it doesn't have to be a massive vibrator or a massive massager. It can be something small, simple. It can be one of the little bullet egg type vibrators that you just put in there to create some stimulation. And once you do that with some lubrication, it'll start making that area a little bit more healthy. And you can get organic, actually organic lubes, water-based lubes as well, that will help. So that you want to make sure that you keep everything balanced and safe.
Okay, I know we have another question here. What do you think? What do you think sexual identity evolved over time, and what might still be unfolding?
What do I think? What do you think sexuality and
Sexual
identity
identity.
evolved over time? Um, I think experience. I think
Okay.
also sometimes, um, there's a lot of fantasy going on sometimes in our brains. So I think sometimes we can stimulate situations in our mind that
Mm,
can also unfold new experiences and things that you may want to try. If you're an avid reader and you read romance novels, that may be something that will open up doors for opening up your psyche about how you feel about it. And also, it kind of goes back about the way you were raised too. You may have been
yeah.
raised in a household that nobody told you anything, and you were sent out and nobody told you about having a period. Nobody told you about your cycle. Nobody told you about getting pregnant. Nobody told you about anything. So again, information is also power when it's the right information. And so, if you don't know, then ask somebody and get the right information. There's so much, the way the world is today, there's so much information available that, this shouldn't be a challenge. And of course, we're always happy to talk to you about any subject in our group. So please always reach out to us if you can.
Okay, we have another question that popped up on the screen. Paul is asking, "What's one thing you're no longer shy about asking for?"
What I want.
You know what? I think as we
Okay,
get
I think
older,
I think as you get older, you're
uh-huh,
you're you're not so shy about asking what you want in the bedroom. And even even to the point of maybe letting your partner know how they need to set it up. Like,
yeah,
okay, the football game on the TV in the bedroom isn't going to work for me.
right,
Okay, set the music, light a few candles, turn the TV off, and then we have a different game going on. So I think that's important. I think you need to, as we get older, we need to ask for what we want.
right, right.
And
Yeah, I
also,
think you get
I
to
also, I also have to think we have to ask for not only what we want, but what we deserve.
yeah, you know what? Because I think as we get older and more wiser, it's just a matter of like you don't care about specific things anymore. You don't stress about them. You don't dwell on things, and it's just like, okay, I'm just going to be open, upfront, transparent, and you know what? This is it. If I want to go and do this in the bedroom, I'm doing this in the bedroom. It doesn't matter. Um, so Christina's asking, how do I discover my true desire style, spontaneous versus responsive?
Well, again, that's as you grow in confidence. How do you discover it? By you can be uh trying different things with your partner. If you
Right.
think about something that you want to try, if you communicate about it and then try it, you might not like it. Maybe then you need to do something else to be able
Mhm.
to communicate. So I think you just kind of have to be open to everything, but make sure your partner, if you're in a partner relationship, make sure that when you're in a partner relationship that you're also making sure they have the right information. I know I've had a lot of people want to try things over my lifetime that maybe wouldn't be something that I wouldn't necessarily want to try, but I would maybe have a conversation about, well, okay, I know you like this. what do you like best about it, and tell me more about it before
Mm-hmm.
we just go out there and try something out of the blue. Because sometimes for people it's fear. If
Yeah.
people haven't experienced something, fear can also fit into it. And if you're having those fearful things going on at that time, then you have to rise to the occasion and get the information and fix it as you go along, for sure. Yeah.
So, you know what? Back in the day, we did the in-home parties for women and couples, and always ran. This brings me to my next question that has been posted. So, men become very defensive. Okay, so Jerry's asking, how do we talk about sex without triggering defensiveness?
Well, it depends. If your partner is also in the line of wanting to still have intimate relations, then I think you can carefully open up a conversation without triggering by not saying anything that he's going to get just defensive about. Like
Mm-hmm.
if he's going through ED,
Okay.
well, if he's going through ED, let's say that's the challenge that triggers him, okay? And he would like to be more intimate, but he can't physically because of what's going on with his body. Well, then would be a great time to say, "Honey, how about if we try some toys?"
Yeah.
I can do some research and we can try some toys for you, and at the same time you can try some toys with me. We don't have to have a hard suitable object on your body to make something go all right. We can actually make a difference and still enjoy it. But I think again it goes back to communicating and
Oh.
not to offend your partner, but to, kind of think about the way they process information. And if you
Mm,
have that information, then great. I used to tell ladies when we would be in that situation in our ordering rooms, I would say, if this is a partner that is new and you're exploring a new relationship or a new
mm,
marriage,
mhm,
and they're not interested in the fact you have a 3-inch vibrating massager in your purse, there's going to be a lot of problems down the road in the bedroom.
mm,
If that's threatening to somebody, then there's more deep issues there, and you don't want to bring those out yourself. You want to, you need to make sure that you know what's going on. So I think lots of times that we can bring up new ideas and things in a way that can be fun. You can make a little set of index cards and write down
mhm.
the things you want to try, and then make it spread them out and let him pick a card. And we used to have date night cards. You remember those,
Yeah,
Veronica?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And you spread them out and let them pick one of things that you want to try. And then have him make a little set of cards of things that he wants to try. And
Right.
make it one night a week. That's your bedroom date night. Maybe one night a week out and one night a week for a bedroom night. That would be fun.
So we have a couple more questions here, but I want to bring up one thing. When there is a gentleman who they're so adamant about, no, 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 I don't need that. It's that's bigger than me. It's intimidating. It's overwhelming. Whatever. Oh, Bob always came up. The word Bob.
Battery
you know,
operated boyfriend. Yes.
yeah, yeah, and it just blew my mind that you had to like kind of talk these guys down. So it was
I
crazy.
always felt that was for me, that's a sign to say next.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. But if that's your permanent partner, you really aren't in that position to be able to do that. But that's when you have to definitely start small and start gentle. It may be things like you turn on to you give him a great massage,
right.
and then maybe it's his turn to give you a massage. And then next time you massage him with a toy,
Yeah,
and doesn't have to be a big toy. I mean, if you have somebody in your life that's that terrified of the replacement factor, you need to be compassionate enough to know that you can go in with a 3-inch toy instead of a 10-inch toy, okay, and still
yeah,
get the
yeah.
same results.
Yeah, you know what? And let's bring up one thing that well, I would always get to. Women would always ask, they do not achieve an internal orgasm from penetration. So that was
Right.
always a big thing as well, because not all women achieve an orgasm. Yeah, you're
Right.
faking it, or they're a lot of them. Well, you know what? He has an orgasm, and I'm left there by myself. So then I have to work things, masturbate a little to get after the fact. And they leave the room. It's really sad that they leave their partners um
Unsatisfied.
unsatisfied.
But
Yeah,
part of that is the woman's part about faking it. If you're not being honest with your partner that he's not taking care of you, then
yeah.
maybe you need to take care of you in front of your partner to show him how that works. Lots of guys just don't know. They don't know the intensity or the pressure to put on the clitoris to spontaneously create an orgasm. They think it's supposed
Hmm.
to take 30 minutes, where for most women, 30 seconds is all it takes. So,
They're doing it right.
if they're doing it right and it's in the right spot, then it's
Yeah,
not a challenge. But everyone is so different. So we
right.
have to have these conversations to understand that moving forward, even though yes, it's about me, when you're trying to improve your relationship with your partner, you have to consider how they feel about everything at the same time. But both of you should be fully participating in the conversation, and both of you should be satisfied. And if that's not happening, then we need to have a discussion, to say, hey,
Yeah.
look, let's try this. Let's try something new.
It's always great to be talking about sex, because there's so many things that you that can be brought up. Alicia is asking, how do I tell the difference between low libido and emotional disconnection?
Great question. Low libido is the lack of desire. Emotional disconnection is there's something going on in your life and you've actually stepped up to do it. One is a chemical in the body. One is more emotional, event driven or stress driven. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the best way to be able to tell the difference. If you know you have a lot of stress things going on, then it's probably emotional disconnection. If you just have no desire whatsoever since you've been going through menopause, then that's going to be about libido.
Right. What about so Berna is asking, what does sexual confidence look like at 40, 50, 60?
Oh, it's different. It's definitely different. 40, I think you're just stepping into your own.
Right.
50, it depends on how, well, wait a second, let me back up here. It depends on how you view aging. I have 40-year-old friends that act like they're 100. And I
Yeah.
have older friends that act like they're still 40. So, so it depends on where you are emotionally and physically. If you've taken care of yourself, food is medicine. So we have to take care of ourselves. We need to make sure we're getting enough omegas so that our bodies are balanced, so that
Mhm.
everything's working better. That will also help with your emotions as well as your libido. So as we're going through those, I think 40 confidence can become a little bit more sturdy as far as, okay, I've got some experience under my belt. I'm feeling more confident. I can make more choices. I think a woman moving into her 50s knows better what she is willing to want and not have in her life. And
Yeah.
then 60s, oh my goodness, if you're still sexy and 60 and sensuous and going for it, I think you're going to have amazing rest of your life.
Oh
So,
boy.
but it's up to the individual, where's your brain at? What are you
Yeah.
doing emotionally for your
Yeah.
brain? And but self-exploration, I think, is probably the best place to start in all those situations. And then you can build on that as you learn more about your body.
Yeah, I mean, especially with women in their 60s, I talk to a lot of women who are in their 60s, and, their partners, husbands, significant others, they're just not there. So they are self-exploring with themselves, and they're having fun masturbating, and having that little bit of an orgasm. And one of the things that was expressed to me was they didn't know if other men, would be attractive to them. moving forward. If they don't have a
Well,
partner or
you know
whatnot.
what? If you don't have a partner and you're wondering, go around people with other healthy people that hang out.
Yeah.
I meet a lot of great people at church. I meet a lot of
Hmm.
great people at events, charity events, and different events and functions. And once you put yourself out there and you're getting to know other people, you're going to know what those reactions are going to be from the other people around you. And I'm not
Yeah.
saying hop in the sack, because for me,
Yeah.
I don't want to be having relations with somebody else unless I'm in a committed partnership. But
Gotcha.
I'm saying you'll get the feeling to know how your vibes are going out from the people you talk to. If you walk
Hmm.
into the room and everybody lights up, there's not a problem here.
Yeah. Right.
Okay. If you walk into the room and nobody notices you, yeah, there's a problem. So sometimes I think we need to
Yeah.
work on our own personal self growth and our personal skills. And I don't know. I think everybody likes a friendly person rather than a crabby
Hmm.
person. So
Oh
how do you
yeah.
are you a kind person delivering kindness, and are you
Mhm.
serving others? I mean, that's always been my key to life, is if I can help enough other people get what they want, they're going to get what they want. I'm going to get what I want at the
Exactly.
same time.
Exactly. And we had some really fabulous questions coming in, and we'll
Yeah.
end that with, Dean, our wonderful, amazing Gene. He said couples can have lots of fun for her with toys. Men should embrace them. And you know what? We
Thank
totally
you,
agree,
Jean.
Gene. And with that being said, we're going to jump into Renee. Can you tell us about next week's topic? And I think we
Oh,
have an
I
ad
sure
there.
can. It's going to be fabulous. We're going to have our special guest, Robert Ferguson, on next week. And we're going to be talking about gut health and you. Everything that happens in disease happens from our gut. So hop
Right.
on next week. Come prepared to learn a lot. And if you haven't already met Robert Ferguson, he's a great communicator and a great educator, and you're
Hmm.
gonna love him. So come back, join us next week. Bring friends, share our telecast today, so some of your friends can have a laugh this week, and just enjoy the part of learning a little bit more about how sex and menopause can really make a difference when you pay attention to putting the me back in menopause.
Absolutely. And thank you once again. You're such a wealth of information, Renee, in addition to being my co-host here today on the Power Hour. Don't forget to join us, ladies, next week with our special guest, Robert Ferguson. Please like, share, follow, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Without you, we would not be, raising the roof here. I hope everybody has
Absolutely.
a great afternoon, and we will talk with you later. Have a great day.